Which one of y'all would have told Kamala that I was talking junk about her not releasing her policies? I know one of y'all told her. I know one of y'all had to tell her because she went on ahead and released them policies on Friday. And just like I said in previous videos, the Democratic messaging is going to speak to more intellectual things. It's not going to try and pull any emotions out of you. It's going to tell you what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and why they're going to do it. Speaking of policies, let's jump into it. She's offering a first time in the history of ever a credit that's going to be offered to the builders of homes that sell directly to home buyers, first time home buyers. Now that's big because it incentivizes the builders cutting out the middleman. Not only is she going to provide help to the builders, she's also going to provide help to the first time home buyers in the form of $25,000 in first time home buyer assistance. So for the federal government to step in and say, hey, I'm going to give $25,000, that's big. She's also talking about capping insulin costs and trying to figure out ways to forgive some types of medical debt. A lot of people in the United States are dealing with one of those two issues, either not having access to medical insurance and they're incurring a lot of medical debt, or they're still paying a lot for insulin costs with insurance. So that's huge in itself. She also wants to look out for first-time mothers, new mothers, I should say. That first year of life that they have that child, she wants to give a $6,000 credit. Now, I hear some people saying it's not enough, but that's what she's offering. When you're at the table negotiating and saying, hey, what are you offering and what are you offering, you got to really size up what each is offering before you make a decision. I'm just trying to help you make that decision. She's also talking about figuring out some type of law that will impact the price gouging that we see in grocery stores and at the counter. What we've seen since inflation has cooled is that big corporations have not decided to share in that cooling of the times. Instead, they've decided to rake in the profits. Now, I partly don't blame a lot of business owners for trying to make as much profit as they can, but at the same time, you have to mix in a little bit of ethics and morals and just common sense. So the fact that the federal government Kamala Harris is offering that's huge in itself. One thing I will say is that I was surprised to see that at least one of her policies was tried earlier in time by a Republican president. Yeah, I said a Republican president. Bush tried to do something against price gouging when, prices got out of line. Bush said enough is enough, and he was trying to do something, but his advisors, for whatever reasons, they walked him back against it. But Bush tried it, so Kamala's going to try it again. I wonder how it'll work out this time. I think Kamala's situation is a little bit different than the situation Bush was working with. So it might not have made economic sense during the Bush presidency to try and do something against price gouging, but it makes sense now to try and do something against price gouging. We're sure to see a lot more policy pop up from Kamala Harris in the next coming weeks, especially this week here, especially at the Democratic National Convention. We're going to see a lot of policy and some talking points. Don't worry, I got y'all. On Friday, I'm going to give a rundown of everything that we've seen happen at the Democratic National Convention. So don't worry about that. But I got you. But we're going to have some newsworthy moments come out of this week. And part of those newsworthy moments is going to be some more policy. And we're going to dive into that too. Speaking of policy, tune in tomorrow. We're going to look at Trump's policy. And I want to see, what he's done right, what he's done wrong, and what we can look forward to. Regardless of how you feel about the key points that Kamala put out there, one thing I can see is the data doesn't lie. Inflation hit its peak at 9% in 2022 or 2020. And as of today, inflation is at 3%, is sitting at 3%. Now that says something about the administration in place. Their policies, their laws, they produced. No matter how you feel about them personally, policies produced. Peace.